Police Minister Bheki Cele and National Police Commissioner Fannie Masemola are to meet with taxi bosses in KwaZulu-Natal today. The meeting will tackle a range of pressing issues. But of course, our senior reporter, Siphamandla Goge, is there and he's keeping a close eye on that meeting in Ladysmith. Siphamandla, of course, crime is going to be on top of the agenda here, violence as well. Has this meeting started? Is it underway? What can you tell us?
Well, the meeting has just concluded. If I were to update you, it started later than anticipated. It was meant to start around 9 o'clock in the morning, but of course there had to be last-minute delays and changing of the venue from Ekuvukeni to the Ladysmith Town Centre. But then the centre or the agenda items were really the issue of taxi violence in Ladysmith, KwaZulu-Natal and South Africa as a whole. Now, this small town of Ladysmith is plagued by ongoing taxi violence and violent crime. So this gathering today was mainly about the police, including their minister, that is General Bheki Cele, the Provincial Commissioner of the Police in KwaZulu-Natal, General Mkhwanazi. Unfortunately, the National Commissioner, General Fannie Masemola, did not attend the meeting. I did not see him, but of course he was scheduled to attend. One would assume that due to other pressing issues, he was unable to attend. But the Minister and the Provincial Commissioner of KwaZulu-Natal attended the meeting together with taxi bosses from Ladysmith and across KwaZulu-Natal. There were few from Gauteng as well. This was a follow-up meeting to the one that was held or convened in Durban about a week ago, whereby taxi bosses led and convened by one of the well-known former taxi owners who's credited for being in the industry for a very long time, having taken over from his father, that is Mandla Goge of the Goge brothers, is the one who basically initiated these peace talks that culminated into today's meeting. So at today's meeting, a peace agreement was signed between the warring faction of the taxi industry in Ladysmith. A powerful group of families in this small town of Ladysmith is said to be at loggerheads. A number of issues, claims and counterclaims that have led to people being killed. So today, basically, they all pledged to work together, or rather to work together. They all committed that there will be peace in the taxi industry in Ladysmith now that they've ironed out their differences. But take a listen to what Minister Bheki Cele had to say about today's engagement.
We have the leadership, almost everybody's here now, to come and have the further engagement on that particular starting point that we had. But one thing that we have discovered, we started at the township called Ekuvukeni. We have established that the crime is beyond the taxi industry. Matters there are other issues that are anchored on the taxi industry, but causing other crimes in the shippings and all that. So it gives us a broader understanding, having come here. But basically, as we've said, the leadership is here. Today are members of association. We expect between 800 and 1,000 people that we'll be talking to. As you have said, the information was given that there are quite several arrests, but we do have a problem of high level of pay, high level of withdrawal. Those are the things that we'll have to go back and work as a cluster with our sister departments and all that. Two things that we need to follow. We need to talk, have the engagement, and when people are willing, we are not going to undermine that, but we need to arrest those people that have committed a crime, because we can't negotiate murder. But there are environmental matters. They've showed the Bush municipality will have to come and other departments to work on the matters that can reduce crime.
Thank you for giving us that update there, our senior reporter, Siphamandla Goge in Ladysmith. But of course, Sipa, before you leave, I'll have to ask you, what else did the minister have to say about this serious issue in that province?
Of course, he says all stakeholders will have to work together in ensuring that there is peace and stability. Remember, you are dealing with a number of issues within the taxi industry. There are administrative issues that the industry itself is complaining about. The issues of permits, the issues of routes. They are alleging that government and the Department of Transport has been neglecting their cries and pleas in terms of sorting out those long-standing issues. So the issue of violent crime in KwaZulu-Natal and particularly taxi violence is not a new thing. If my memory serves me well, having worked in this province for a very long time, I remember that when Siphamandla was the Transport MEC at the time, he commissioned an investigation, and there was a commission which was known as the Taxi Commission that was looking at what causes taxi violence in KwaZulu-Natal, what could be the challenges and possible solutions. A number of proposals were submitted, but they were not really implemented, and the issue of permits and routes was at the center of that. I'm not talking about just any other routes, but lucrative routes. It is believed that this business, the taxi industry in KwaZulu-Natal, is lucrative. So you would find that some taxi associations are fighting over lucrative routes. When they go to the Department of Transport and to the board to register the new routes that they would have identified, maybe they are able to form a quorum to start the new taxi association. Then there will be allegations of corruption and fraud at the Department of Transport and the board, because those routes will be taken and allocated to some people, not the founders of those routes. So that's where the gist is in terms of dealing with issues that have been raised by the taxi industry. But the taxi industry itself is willing to end the taxi violence. Of course, critics will say it's something they have said in the past. They have had so many peace agreements, but those were not honored. But Mandla Goge of the Goge brothers is of the view that in order to eliminate the taxi violence, you need to eradicate what is known as the hitman industry. Let's take a listen.
I'm one individual since when I was young, and I joined this industry in the early 90s. The most person that I hate in my life, it's a hitman. Because if you and I we've got an issue, the hitman just intervenes to solve a problem by eliminating you or me. Who told him that? Who told him that he is a problem solver? He is someone, how can I call this person? Is someone who fights without being angry and without being involved. And he offered that service. So that's the first thing that this agreement is trying to eliminate and to remove from the industry. Because a hitman is a hitman, the business owner is the business owner. The taxi driver who's operating the vehicle is someone who works. A passenger is a commuter, someone who needs public transport. So you don't need those people. So it's very, very important. That's why Sifuni trust him even amaphoyisa within.
Thank you so much, Siphamandla. Of course, just giving us an update there on that particular meeting between Bheki, Cele, and of course the taxi bosses there in Ladysmith.